Hey everybody, Eric Schweitzer here, back with another episode of Your Favorite Game, joined by my favorite co-hosts, George Foster.
Hello.
And the Gamers Editor-in-Chief, Stacy Henley.
Hello.
Forgot your nicknames this week.
Yeah, I noticed. I'm not a fan of that. Go back. Do it again.
Hey, we're here to talk about turn-based games, and I've been playing a pretty spectacular turn-based game.
We all have.
Maybe you've heard of it. It's a pretty great game with a pretty terrible name.
It does have a terrible name.
Clair Obscur Expedition 33. What a game, am I right?
What a game. Oh my god.
I'm the least far through it of you guys. I know George is loving it though. And I know you did because I have just reached the first area.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I said this to you recently, Stace. There's a bit that kind of crystallizes it for me is like moving beyond, oh, this is a really good game that like reinvigorates turn-based RPGs. Like, oh wow, these characters like are one of the best RPG parties I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
I
adore but I'm right at the start.
Yeah, you will love it.
And it's my thing. It's my thing more than it's either of your things.
Yeah,
true.
I'm not really. I was surprised you liked it so much, Eric. To be honest,
I know.
It's not really.
Well,
not
I
really
think I think that's sort of the big story about this game.
Its appeal, yeah.
It should be quite niche as the turn-based genre tends to be, and it's not. It's like a big phenomenon. Although I have to say, this is a very spoilerable game, and I have not seen any spoilers anywhere.
Yeah,
and it makes me wonder: is it respect, or are people not actually playing this game?
The Steam numbers suggest that they are playing this game. The sold out like copies suggest it as well. I think people are taking it slower than maybe they'd care to admit before giving a review on Metacritic, for example.
Yeah.
But I do just think in this case where we've got this game that's come out of nowhere, surprised everyone, like sets the bar for a genre. The positive side of me likes to think that maybe there is just a sense of respect of like, no, we want people to experience this. But then I know the internet, so maybe
I have less faith in that. Yeah, I mean, Eric, you and I have the same like view on spoiler culture of like these people who think like everything is a spoiler are extremely irritating people. But I do mainly think people who do like actual spoilers who like post like, oh my god, I can't believe like this death happens 40 hours into the game or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not 40 hours in, so I have no idea if that happens. Tends to be people who are like want clout, basically, like people who were like the day that, I mean, at least before I knew it, like the day that The Last of Us came out, were like talking about Joel's death, or like you play as Abby, or those sorts of things, like those kinds of, because they're such big games. I think a lot of those sorts of experiences are easier to spoil. One, because a lot of the blockbuster games are quite linear, so you can I know Clair's actually not that long compared to some mammoth turn-based games, but it's easy to kind of mow through some of the linear games, I think. But also it's not because it has a silly name and it's not like an established franchise. Yeah. I don't think it's the kind of game that they're not casual, because these people talk about gaming all the time, but they have that kind of popcorn interest in gaming, if you like, where they kind of only care about the really big releases and they want to like have those big conversations and like, oh, I got here first and all those kind of things. I remember when Astro came out and people were like, I was the first person in the world to get a platinum. I'm like,
oh, wow.
Okay. I think those sorts of things don't necessarily mesh with the kind of slower burn, very kind of European stylings of play.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
In this case, it's like it's a service to the game that moments haven't been spoiled.
Of course, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I am not like super. You tell me a thing happens in a game, I'm like, okay, but the context and how it happens matter more than an event happened.
Always,
but the stuff that happens in the story, the story is so good that I am glad I got to have my own reaction to it. So it's this, we won't talk about Clair Obscur the whole episode as much as I'd like to, but it is this wonderful, like even outside of the game itself, the fact it's doing well, the fact people haven't like ruined it for others, like it's all just combined to this like really nice time for games, I think. Just with this one thing, I'm sure it'll go horrible in a week, but it's nice right now.
Yeah. Also, George, you said it came out of nowhere, and I've heard lots of people say that. But like this, had a trailer at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I know. I hate that. I hate that phrase. It came out of nowhere because, like, obviously we've all been aware of it. There's been previews, there's been trailers, but like the lead up to release was like hardcore RPG people like this will be really good, and everyone else was like,
Yeah.
okay, enjoy.
I don't think people had a lot of faith in it. Yeah, I was watching this game. I don't think the trailers did it justice. I think a big complaint people have had is like the parrying, like dodging stuff of the combat, and just generally the way that combat seems to work at first. I don't think sells very well. It's not until you get to the point, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because I'm going off what a lot of people have said. But when you kind of mix and match the party members and you get kind of bigger combos and things, that seems to be, from what I've heard, a lot more expansive than a game like Persona or Metaphor, which are kind of the big modern hitters of the turn-based genre, I would say, where you tend to just unlock a stronger version of a power. You can damage more people, you can do more damage. I think Clair didn't make the best case for itself. Coming all the way through this year, I was like, this is the kind of game that I think I'm going to really like. But I also was kind of worried this could be the kind of game that gets, a 72 and it's kind of, close but no cigar, all those sorts of things. We have the our bets at the start of the year. We kind of look at what games we think are going to score highly. And I have had my own same for a long time, and I was nowhere near picking. In fact, I was nearly going to be like, I think this is a bad pick. I think this could actually tank.
Yeah.
Just because it looked like the sort of game that might. It's a debut studio, a small studio. They were from Ubisoft, which I'm sorry was a negative to me when I heard that it was because they generally have been trending downwards in recent years. Obviously, not because of these people, but because of other people. Maybe it's higher up with Ubisoft.
Well, they were hiding their power level, apparently.
So I think.
Yeah, I definitely got like a Spider's Greedfall vibe.
Yes.
This will be like cool and promising, but it won't live up to its potential, but it totally does.
A game that you two will not really remember, I'm sure, but Unknown 9 Awakening was also a debut game.
I remember.
From Bandai. Like Bandai published as well, so I had vibes of like it might just be that, but turns out Unknown 9 just wasn't that great, and Clair Obscur is. Yeah,
instead, highest user Metacritic score of all time with thousands of reviews.
But that's silly. I don't want to get into that too much because it annoys me. But like, no one, like those people haven't finished the game. I spent a whole weekend on it, and I'm still like getting through. Like I'm not rushing, but if I was rushing, I still don't think I'd be finished.
Yeah, it's basically just like the woke meter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a broken system. It's stupid.
Or the reverse woke meter.
Yeah, and I think that's also Clair as well.
Yeah.
Let's do our favorite games, though. No one mentioned this game. We've discussed it too much, and we can't do spoilers on it.
This, not our Expedition 33 episode. However, that was certainly the impetus for us to talk about turn-based games today.
Yes.
And boy, this is a pretty broad topic. I'm sure most people immediately, when you say turn-based, think of Clair Obscur. You think of those classic turn-based RPGs, the old Final Fantasies, the Pokemons, but I have identified, I believe, 8 turn-based genres, which include turn-based RPGs I mentioned, Tactics, which is a turn-based RPG with the dimension of space, right? 4X games, so like Civ, you literally take turns. Card games. You got your Hearthstones, etc. You've got your board games, of course, digital board games.
You take your turn, roll the dice,
roguelikes, like actual roguelikes, like Rogue itself was turn-based. And so games that are actual true roguelikes. And I included in there roguelike card games, sort of a half and half genre, like Monster Train, Slay the Spire.
Yeah.
Turn-based. Blobbers. We all know Blobbers. Nope. Blank stares. That's okay. Blobbers. So these are these sort of classic dungeon crawler RPGs. They're party based, but they're first person, so you don't see the individual members of the party. You take the perspective of the party from one point of view. So that's why they're called blobbers, because it's
like the first Persona kind of.
Is that turn based?
Well. All personas are technically, but also you in the dungeons. I want to say you kind of move first person like square at a time. Yeah,
exactly. Like Ultima, like Grimrock or whatever. Blobbers. And then CRPGs. So your Baldur's Gate.
That's the classic one.
Your Pillars of Eternity.
After like your classic combat Final Fantasy, CRPGs are the big ones.
Yeah. So I have at least a couple games to mention all of those genres, but I'm very curious to hear what your choices are. So George, it's your turn to go first this week. I know.
Okay.
He loves going first. George, what's your favorite game with turn-based? No, how's this work? What's your favorite turn-based game?
I just want to note that I'm sorry for this choice, but
oh God,
for the record, it's now Clair Obscur. I haven't finished it yet, but it is. It's just that good. But so as to not bore everyone with repeating what we just talked about, mine is South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Oh my God!
Oh, okay. I know it's not a good choice, but there is an anecdote, if you like. I do have a story for this one, if we'd like to hear it.
Does it involve butt gnomes?
Not directly, I guess indirectly.
Underpants gnomes, right?
They're underpants gnomes. Profit.
Right. Fine, go ahead.
So, The Stick of Truth came out when I was 12 years old.
I hate this episode. Why did we do this?
I was stupid enough to like South Park quite a lot at the time. I used to think it was like, it's edgy, but it's edgy against everyone, so it's clever.
You were 12. Yes, we get it.
Yes, I was 12.
You were 12 year old boy and you liked South Park. It's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. So, of course, I had to have the South Park game, the big one that everyone's talking about. I had never got on with turn-based RPGs. Like, it was a miracle that as RPG-ish as Kingdom Hearts is, I still loved that. But just the genre, even not turn-based, I couldn't really get into. Didn't like XP. I just like platforming, jumping around, whatever. But because this game was a South Park game, I had to play it. And I guess really my choice is any Mario RPG that has you doing like QTEs in between attacks. But because
you
South
just
Park...
changed your choice right in the middle of the story?
I'm not done. So because South Park introduced me to that, even if now I look back and I cringe at exploring South Park and like farting on people, it got me into turn-based RPGs. It was the welcoming in game that kind of made me see what that was all about. And I always say now, well, maybe not so much now because I'm an adult now, but if you want me to like a turn-based RPG, there has to be a gimmick. There has to be like something other than just take turns attacking. There has to be like Persona. It's the graphics, it's the visuals, it's the high school life. You know, now I've realized what I mean is active turn-based combat, like Super Mario RPG, which is a better game than South Park: Stick of Truth. But for the cases of this personal story, it's South Park: Stick of Truth.
Listen, I like Stick of Truth. I think it's decent. I don't remember any of the jokes except for the underpants gnomes because I'm pretty sure it's like Kyle's parents having sex.
Yeah,
right?
something like that. I think
there was the one where it was
bullshins.
censored in the UK, in the EU, wasn't there? That was Stick of Truth. That was a Fractured Butthole.
That was Stick of Truth. Yeah, I think Fractured Butthole, which we're just saying without laughing at, which I think is South Park's whole thing. But
yes,
I think that was fine.
Watching South Park and not laughing is indeed how I experienced South Park.
I was young, okay? It was. I'm young now, but I was younger.
You don't have to defend liking South Park. It's okay.
No, I do. I feel like I owe an explanation for liking South Park. I don't really now.
If you were a 12-year-old white boy, I think it's weird if you didn't like South Park.
I also loved Family Guy. I was a real connoisseur of taste.
I like a bit of Family Guy.
Wow,
I think I like them all. I think I like a bit of them all. I don't think there's any one that I hate, but
this is the richest genre in the world, and we're talking about South Park.
Yeah,
because a personal choice. I could have just said, I'm looking at my list. I could have just gone Super Mario RPG because I really liked that, you know. But you get to hear from the heart. That's what makes it special.
On the list.
Clair Obscur, yes, I do.
Wait. No. The best joke in that game is the difficulty being tied to your skin.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's
I think that's Fractured Butthole.
Gag.
That is Fractured
No.
Butthole.
That's the first one.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Or it must probably both.
No, I'm. Oh, maybe it is.
There's 3 white people we approve of that joke.
Yes, very good joke.
Applause for South Park.
Okay. Sure. It's cool that it felt like playing the show because we had a lot of South Park games before that.
Yeah.
Because when I was 12, the big South Park game everybody's talking about was the N64.
Oh
South
no,
Park.
the first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was cool that the game really like captured the show, and it was like the whole neighborhood and walking around felt like scenes from the show. I think it was well done. It was surprising that Ubisoft took that. Yeah, I don't really
do
have
think it's also,
much more
like,
to say about it.
I do think, jokes aside, me liking South Park, Stick of Truth, bad choice. I do think it's a good RPG as well. I do think the way that you can,
It's a good first RPG.
yeah,
Which I know is what you're pitching it as.
Yes.
yeah, that's my point. I guess it was literally probably my first RPG that I can remember anyway. And the way you kind of do the team formations, I think is really cool. The way the special attacks are all like stuff that kids would use instead of like actually being wizards and stuff. Like I think you like firecrackers and stuff like that. I think it's really clever. Not in a way that like Rick and Morty's clever, like you have to have an IQ to understand it. But I think how they've played with South Park, the world, I think it's good.
I guess I agree. Yes.
Go on then, you two. What are your astounding
games? Well, so that was your first RPG. Before we move on, I was just trying to think of mine. Stacy, do you remember what your first like turn-based classic RPG was?
Pokemon. I mean, Pokemon was one of the very first games. Pokemon Blue was one of the very first games that I played on the old Game Boy. Was it a Game Boy or was it Game Boy Color? But that was probably only the third or fourth game I ever played in my life. Okay. Pokemon Blue. So
Gotcha. Yeah, mine would have been a Game Boy one. If it wasn't Pokemon, it would have been some like Golden Sun or a Final Fantasy port or something. Okay, Stacy, what's your favorite turn-based game?
I love a lot of turn-based games. So I sat and thought about games that we've kind of discussed before, and I went for one that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've actually ever picked this as my choice, despite liking it a lot. I went through a few games. I didn't go for Pokemon. I didn't go for Like a Dragon. I didn't go for Fire Emblem, because I'm pretty sure I've brought this all up multiple times before. I'm not sure if I've ever said that my favorite game is Persona 5.
I knew you were going to... So you haven't ever said that, no, but I know you
love Persona. But it's just, I don't think we've ever dove into that on... This
I love
show.
Persona 5.
Yeah, it definitely comes up all the time, but no, I don't think you've ever chosen it for the week.
Yeah, there's something about Persona 5. Like, obviously the way in which the battles are constructed, I always think is really clever. I know I said before that it's not as broad as the way Clair does it, because Clair has kind of mixing and matching party members and numbers and the kind of the tap to attack thing. But the way that you get all the different power-ups from the different characters, and they all kind of because of the way the revealing of Persona works, they all represent something deeper about that character. I've always thought was a really fascinating way to do it. You know, the guy with a really short fuse has the electric powers, and he's kind of displayed as like gung-ho pirate. That's always been a very they're quite obvious tropes, but they work really well within the game. But I think more so why I like it than just the combat is good or the actual turn-based is good. The way that Persona tells its story is very specifically linked to what the characters feel at different times. It's not necessarily a big overarching blockbuster story in the way that we're used to from video games, where one person goes on an epic quest. You know, whether it's Kratos or Aloy or Ellie, they have one singular driven purpose and they go and do it, and they kill a bunch of people while they're doing it. It's all about the actual lives of these characters, and there's magical goings on, and they explore these explore your heart and the palaces, and there's metaphorical recreations of their trauma, and that's visually very interesting. It's a theme that kind of continues with the use of art and metaphor, which is kind of linked to Persona through Atlas. But I've always been, I think you can probably both test this, George, I think more so at the moment. When I like a thing, I tend to like it very kind of deeply. Yes. I go off things very easy, but I do have a kind of hyperfixation, obsession on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And for the reason I think I'm so drawn to turn-based games more than you two, maybe it's not even turn-based games, but just RPGs as a whole, is when there's a big cast of characters that you can dive into how they feel, who they are, what they're like away from the game. that is always something that I kind of think about over and over. So when I first played Persona, I liked it, but it kind of annoyed me because some of the way the difficulty works is really strange, and the ending there's a difficulty spike right at the end, and you can't really grind for it, so you end up kind of flatlining when you should be, rising towards this kind of glorious moment. So I remember putting 200 hours into it. There's one of the passes where you turn into rats on a boat and just thinking, you know what, I actually am a bit sick of this now. Yeah, I hate that. Ugh. Still hate it. Even replaying it, I hate it.
Yeah.
But even though I put 200 hours into it and I was really annoyed by it, I wanted to replay it. I kind of kept thinking about it, and I've written a lot about it for this site because they're really easy characters to kind of dive into, and obviously they've got strikers and the dancing in Moonlight. And
I love the dancing ones, Tactica or whatever it's called.
The tactical one is strikers, and then there's another one after that which finishes
there's one
the
called
story
Tactica,
off.
Right?
Yeah,
Tactica. No.
I know you don't like that one, but it exists.
It does exist. It exists is what it does. But yeah, the rest of them really dive into like who the characters are as people, and I think that makes you root for them within a turn-based system because you care about the characters beyond. Oh, you have the healing powers. Oh, you have the strong attack that's good against this boss. You take characters into battle with you because you pair them up. You kind of go, yeah, I want Anne and Ryu together because I like their dynamic. Even though they don't really speak much in battle, you don't get a lot of kind of depth where you do from a game like Baldur's Gate. You get to kind of tell their story for them in a way that I think is part of the reason that I've always loved Persona 5 specifically. It's not necessarily that it's a great game, even though it is. It's that the characters in it make me care.
It is, I would say, similar to what I said about Clair, it's like an all-timer cast.
Yeah.
I love Persona 5's
and
cast.
One of those ones as well where no one really agrees. Like, you can discuss with fans, and some was like, oh, your Joker's the best character, and I really hate Anne, she's so annoying. And other people, who are correct, are like, no, Anne is the best character in the game, she has like a lot of depth.
No, Ryuji's the best character in the game. The correct people say that. That's what I've heard on the streets.
But that's the thing, right? Like you end up connecting with these characters because you see yourself in them, or you kind of relate to them, or you sympathize with their story. And even the ones that kind of come in later, because the game's so long and there's so many other ways to experience it. People like Haru, who you don't get for tens of hours, but she's there from the start in like Strikers, and the other one I just can't remember the name. It's really irritating me. She's there from the start in all the other games. That means as you play through the other things, you get to know them more. Was it called Shadows? I think it was.
I think you mean Tactica.
It's not Tactica. There was one in between. There definitely was. Doesn't matter.
God.
I think it's one of the biggest, maybe the most successful RPGs that really still keeps like that core, that soul of the RPG going. Because it's such a broad genre and such a broad term that a lot of times RPG just means which attacks are you going to choose on your skill tree?
Yeah.
You know,
it's like God of War's an RPG. It's like, no,
sure. Final Fantasy 16, like, do you really feel like you're role playing anything? But in Persona, you absolutely are, and in Baldur's Gate too. I think those are kind of the two big ones that you're really like exactly what you were describing, trying to sort of like empathize with these characters on a deeper level and play as though you are making choices on their behalf because those are the things you want that character to do or think that character would do.
Yeah. Even if you don't actually go and write actual fan fiction, or you don't draw actual fan art, you don't do anything of that nature, as you play it, you're kind of doing that in your head anyway. You know, you are imagining what these characters' lives are like off screen. You are filling in the kind of gaps between them, not just in a Joker's going to talk to this person today because they will give me extra health for tomorrow, or I want to do the romantic subplot with this character. It's more that you want to take Joker through the world and meet all these different people.
Definitely. I continuously find like things I like are tangential to Persona, and yet I'll never play Persona for some reason. Like everything I like, people go, oh, that's kind of like Persona. And I'm like, really? Huh? I'm not going to play that.
That's interesting. Glad to hear it.
But yes, I probably should. Great picks so far. Well, half of them were.
Okay. I open up and this is what I get. Go on then, Eric. What's your favorite turn-based game? Because I will be judging.
Yeah, I'm such a little gamer gremlin. I could have chosen so many different things here. I like the one I picked. Obviously, I love, but I could have picked a bunch of different things from a bunch of different subgenres of turn-based. But the one I went with, for a lot of the same reasons that Stacy went with Persona, I went with Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Good choice.
On my list.
Yeah, and another game we've talked about on the show a lot. I don't think I've ever chosen it as my game of the week.
I think you have somewhere. I think it was.
I
can't remember. We've definitely chatted
about one
about
with cards, and I think I mentioned it. It doesn't matter though. We talk about repeated games all the time.
So much to say about Midnight Suns.
Yeah, exactly.
For forever and ever. There is no way any studio, even a big successful one like Firaxis, should have gotten a budget to make a game like Marvel's Midnight Suns. It is such an absurd, non-commercial premise, which unfortunately bore out in the sales. Like, it was not a successful game. And it's really easy to see why. Despite the Marvel IP, they went with a 80s miniseries nobody has ever heard of. They went with a blend of trading card game and tactics and dating sim. That's the pitch. It's part dating sim, part card game, part tactics game. And everyone said, no, thank you. And I get it, except like that's right in my crosshairs. That's like hitting the intersection of everything I love all at the same time. Not necessarily dating sim, but the opportunity to like
be best friends with
Marvel
Spider-Man.
characters. Yes, be best friends with Spider-Man. That part of the game is the best part of the game. Even saying that as someone who's all about cards and tactics games, like the social aspects of that game, the opportunity to build relationships with all of these different heroes, and the way that Firaxis really not just captured the identities of these superheroes, but added to them, like really like built things into these characters that I now see as part of these characters' identities, that I now associate. When I think about Captain Marvel, I now include the Midnight Suns Captain Marvel.
Same. As far like, especially because they went for like, not just a series that people weren't aware of, but characters who are pretty minor in the overall scheme of things. Like, they have Nico in there, they have Magic in there, and I think that was always part of the appeal. They didn't just shove a bunch of here's famous characters together. They picked characters they felt worked for their narrative, and that paid off. Not in terms of money, but in terms of my enjoyment.
Not in terms of money. Yeah. It's a spectacular game. It's got cool exploration, like around the manor and like on the outskirts. And then the combat scenarios, the amount of variety, the enemy types, just like the amount of strategy that you need to employ to outside of battle to build your decks and to combine the characters together that are going to work well. And then in battle to make the most out of every turn possible in every AP point you have. Like, it's just such a brilliantly designed game that we've never seen before and we'll never see again. It's just, it feels like back in the day when games could be made faster with smaller budgets, you would get
100%.
weird stuff like this. And
we'd have a sequel by now. We absolutely would.
Yeah. These days, everybody's got to play it safe. Everybody's got to jump on the trend, jump on the next big genre. We're making an extraction shooter. And Firaxis said, no, we're going to invent a new genre, and it's going to be about a Marvel thing nobody cares about. And I think that's just so cool. It really is just such a cool game.
Yeah, I don't think I ever finished it. I think it's my great shame. I did say I would. But I put like 30 hours into it. It is a long game. I think.
Yeah, it's beefy. Yeah.
The combat is the only thing. I'd say this about Baldur's Gate as well, because I'm basic. The combat like stopped me finishing it, but I loved all the time just chatting to people and exploring. Like it was just one
close your
part
eyes
of
and
that
think of Carmen.
Yeah, if I could fart in Marvel's Midnight Suns, I'd be really into it.
You know, I wonder if now after Expedition 33, if you would appreciate it more, because it is such an action-y turn-based thing.
Yeah,
I think that was. Go on, sorry.
I think I'm at a point now where, even though like Claire has the gimmick of like parrying and countering, yeah, well, it's easier than a Clair Obscur Expedition 33 every time. But I think I'm more welcoming of turn-based RPGs in general. I think Marvel's Midnight Suns does have like a weird combat anyway, because all the card and tactical stuff. Like
Very
I think
weird. Yeah,
it's difficult to wrap your head around if you haven't done it before. But I would probably
nobody has. There's never been anything like it before.
Yeah, I should go back to it. I think I'd have to restart though. It's been so long. But I always respect it because you two loved it. Like I think it's always a good choice for whatever we talk about it for.
Yeah, it came out really late December. It made both of our Game of the Year lists. Then was snubbed by everything at the end of the year. It was too late for one year, and then it was kind of too early and forgotten for the next year.
Yep.
I think what I was going to say was I think we mentioned it on something to do with environmental hazards because we mentioned it for the Venom battle.
Yeah,
about the way the combat works.
That is a good one.
Yeah, I do remember talking about the bell tower. Yeah,
symbiote. So I think that's the thing as well. It uses its settings not as backdrops, but as actual settings that the characters interact with.
Yeah.
In quite clever ways at times.
Yes, I love it. I'll never stop selling it, even though nobody's buying it.
No one bought it.
No,
someone has to.
They put Deadpool in it. Come on, you guys. He comes with a chalupa truck or whatever.
They put Morbius in it.
Yeah.
It's Morbin time.
It's
Who
Morbin
thought that was
time.
a good idea? Come on.
It's the DLC is a whole vampire campaign. It's pretty good. Okay. Quiz time. Yeah. We all like a bit of a quiz. It's that halfway point in the show. I've got a fun one this week. We're going to have a turn-based battle.
Oh, clever.
Yeah.
It's going to be like Pokemon. I concede.
Don't concede. It's not only about Pokemon. In fact, it's not even mostly about Pokemon.
Okay.
So here's how it'll work. You're going to take turns attacking each other. You will have 3 attacks to choose from.
Ooh, clever. I like this.
The stronger the attack, the harder the question, the more damage you'll deal.
Clever. I thought I'm in.
There will be opportunities for crits. I've got it all worked out. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I like this.
Since George started today, I think Stacy will be taking initiative here.
Yes, I have higher agility.
I have. Sorry, I wrote this quiz a while ago and I forgot. I have a way to decide who's taking initiative. This is going to be Price is Right rules. Whoever gets closest without going over.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many total war games are there?
No.
27.
Okay.
39.
Okay, you're both over. Go again.
15.
Okay.
16.
16 is the correct answer.
That sucks. No way.
All right, Stacy, you're attacking first. Would you like to use Slash, Flamethrower, or Eruption?
I will go for Flamethrower.
Flamethrower. Great. Okay. Here is your question. Stacy, I can name 9 master classes from Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Can you name 2?
The master classes are the final upgrade ones.
The final upgrades. Yeah, give me 2.
I think one of them is just called Dancer.
I don't have Dancer.
That might not be a final one. Cavalier.
I don't have Cavalier.
Oh, these are just the regular classes.
Yeah.
There's one of the archers. It's got a specific name. It's not Power Archer. I'm going to say Power Archer.
No,
I love 3 Emblem. I haven't played 3 Houses.
Yeah.
I haven't played Rizard. The master classes are.
This is tough. I would have whiffed this.
Do they all start with master or something like that?
No, a lot of them end with the same word.
Oh, is it something like Gauntlet Champion?
It's something like that. I think 5 of them all have they're 2 words. 5 of them have the same second word.
Okay. Is it Warrior?
No.
No, I'm going to pass. I'm going to fail this attack.
All right, I'll tell you what they are. The master classes in Fire Emblem 3 houses are Falcon Knight, Great Knight, Bow Knight, Dark Knight, Holy Knight, Wyvern Lord, Mortal Savant, Gremory, War Master, and that's it.
Yeah.
Those sound familiar now?
Yeah, the Wyvern Lord, so you get to ride a dragon.
Nice. All right, that was a critical miss. George.
Dodge. Yeah.
Your turn to attack. Your options are Vine Whip, Razor Leaf, or
I don't want to be a
Giga Drain.
grass type, but I guess I'll do the whip. Let's go.
It's doing the Vine Whip. Okay, George, I'm going to tell you the names of 4 Final Fantasy characters.
Okay.
I want you to tell me the one that's not a Final Fantasy character.
Got it.
Ready?
Yeah.
Tara Branford, Bart's Clouser, Cecil Harvey, and Maria Balthazar.
God, that's harder than I thought. Why couldn't it just be Final Fantasy 15? I'm going to go Cecil.
Cecil Harvey is the protagonist in Final Fantasy IV.
Oh, I didn't go that far back. Whatever.
Bart Krauser is the main character in 5. Tara Branford is the main character in 6. And Maria Balthazar is from Xenogears.
Okay.
Another whiff. Uh-oh. Classic Eric making the quiz too hard. That was at least multiple choice, though.
Yeah.
All right, Stacy. No damage on the board yet. Your attack options are Splash, Water Gun, or Hydro Cannon.
I think Splash.
I'm going to go for Splash, yeah.
Splash, great. Okay.
Dropped up and down, nothing happened.
All right, Stacey. I'm going to tell you the names of 4 Shin Megami Tensei games.
Oh.
You tell me which one is not a title of a Shin Megami Tensei game.
Okay.
All right. Apocalypse.
Okay.
Vengeance.
Okay.
Lost Memory. And Strange Journey.
Apocalypse, Vengeance, Strange Journey, and
Lost Memory.
Vengeance definitely is. That's pretty new. That's a pretty recent one. I recognize the name of that. We covered that at the site a lot. I remember reading a lot of stuff about that. Apocalypse sounds like it would be. It was Strange Vengeance and
Lost Memory and Strange Journey are the others.
Strange Journey. Oh, yeah, Vengeance was by itself. Since I've forgotten it twice already, let's go for Lost Memory.
Lost Memory is a fake title I just made up.
Nice.
Direct hit. 10 damage.
My HP.
There goes your HP, buddy. How's that feel? How's that make you feel?
I need vengeance. Let's do this.
All right. All right, George, your turn to attack. Would you like to tail whip?
Tail whip.
Or bolt strike?
I need an easy win, please.
Okay, George, here are 4 Civilization games.
No, I hate Civilization.
Tell me which one of these games is not a real Civilization game.
Well, they're all
Ready?
bloody numbered, aren't they? That's surely easy.
Is it Civ 1, Civ 6, Civ 19?
Okay, here we go. Civ Revolution. Civ New World. Civ Beyond the Sword. And CivNet.
Well, I remember Revolution. It was the one that was on PS3 and Xbox 360 because my stepdad used to play it all the time. So I'm going Beyond the Sword because that sounds false as shit.
Beyond the Sword is an expansion for Civ 4.
Are you taking the mick? That's so dumb. Which is the false one?
The fake one was Civ New World. I made that up.
Okay. Well, that sounds...
Thanks.
Is itself a game?
Yeah.
New World is a game, yes. Okay, Stacy, we're the timer on this battle is starting to tick, so we're gonna have to move into some higher damage attacks
yeah, that's
here.
Fine.
Would you like to Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor?
Let's do a bit of Dragon Pulse.
Dragon Pulse, great. Stacy, I know 7 series that have a tactical RPG spin-off. Can you name 3?
Final Fantasy.
Yep.
Persona.
Yep.
Pretty soon, Star Wars. Another
Pretty soon.
there, but Pokemon.
And Pokemon. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. I would have also taken Mario for Mario Rabbids.
Oh my God! Yes,
I didn't even think of that.
I would have
Rabbids.
taken
Love Mario
Gears
Rabbids.
Tactics.
Mm.
I would have
Wouldn't have
taken
come to me.
Fallout Tactics.
Yeah.
Does Fire Emblem have a tactics one?
Fire Emblem is a
Fire
tactics.
Emblem is a tactics. Fire Emblem base game is a tactics game.
I would have taken Metal Gear Acid, the tactics Metal Gear.
No one would have taken Metal Gear
I've
Acid.
never
I
heard of
refuse that.
20 damage on
Great.
George's face. George.
Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop.
Here we go. Would you like to Steel Beam
Mm.
or Gigaton Hammer?
Gigaton Hammer, why not? Let's do this.
Okay, Gigaton Hammer.
Scary.
George, you know Advance Wars.
Bloody barely.
Bloody barely. If I told you that 3 of the factions in that game are Orange Star, Blue Moon, and Green Earth, could you tell me the 4th one?
I probably could have told you Blue Moon. That was one that's based on Russia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I can't tell you the answer, but there's a fun fact for you.
The 4th one, you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Orange Star, Blue Moon, Green Earth, and Yellow Comet.
That I would have never guessed.
Can
that.
you tell me the 5th, the enemy faction?
Red Fire?
Black
That
Hole.
sounds it.
I'm
Black Hole.
gonna have red and orange. I would have guessed yellow.
It was Yellow Comet. And they were
I
doing
don't
kind of a
think I'm going to
celestial
win
thing.
this.
Star, Moon, Earth, Comet. Yeah, I make quizzes too hard. I'm working on it. Hey, next one. Stacy, would you like to head smash or rock wrecker?
Let's
Put me
do a
onto
head
my
smash.
misery.
Let's do a head
George,
smash.
do you want to rest to recover?
Stacy, I can name 11 gym leaders from Pokemon Black and White.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
Can you name 3?
They all blur together in my head. Which
Yeah.
one's black and white? Is black and white the one with the fashion model who's electric? She's Alessa? Is that her name?
There is Alessa, yes. That's one.
Is it the one with the girl with the ice? No, I think that's Diamond and Pearl. I quite like Pokemon as well. It's irritating. Flat top fellow with the blue hair. Vicaron?
No.
He in that? Crash Awake? I'm getting
No.
Diamond. That's Diamond and Pearl as well.
Yeah. You're in the 4 zone. We need to be in the 5 zone.
I'll know them when I hear them. This is annoying.
Like any answer.
George,
Like
what
it,
about you? Do you know any of these?
Yeah.
What do you think? I
Kind of-
will say, I can't believe
A lot-
Stace got a Pokemon question. I got Advance Wars. That's cruel.
A lot of them are in the sequel too, and they have their stories have evolved. I don't know if that's a hint for you.
Not really, not enough.
Yeah. You got Alyssa. You need 2 more. I can start taking some off the board if that's going to help.
Maybe, because I think, oh yeah, there's that one. Is Tay and Liza, is that...
No. Black and White is Iris, Drayden, Lenora, Cress,
No.
Skyla,
Oh,
Bryson.
I like Skylar as well. With the
Bird.
the red ponytail and the blue arm thing.
Yeah. Clay, Chili, Silent, Cress. All right. Can you hear buzzsaws? No?
No.
No.
Thank God. George,
Yeah.
we've got a Shadow Claw. Do we? No, we don't. We have an Astral Barrage.
Yeah, let's do that. Why not? I can't
Here we
mess up
go.
anymore.
George, there are... Oh, this is an easy one. You got this, bud.
We'll see.
George, there are 22 tarot cards in Marvel's Midnight Suns. Okay?
Oh my god.
No, that's just a thing I'm telling you. There are 22 tarot cards in Marvel's Midnight Suns. 21 of them have characters that have shown up in the MCU, either in movies, TV.
Okay.
One of those cards has a character that has not been in the MCU. Who is it? And I'm including Fantastic Four, like, as because we've seen the trailers.
Blade has technically appeared, right? So I wouldn't go Blade. Magic?
Magic does not have a tarot card. No, not all the characters have tarot cards. These are like other things in Marvel lore.
Ghost Rider's not been in the current MCU. So...
Again, it's not the characters in the game. It's other Marvel stuff. The tarot cards.
That's so broad. How am I supposed to... How would I know this one?
Should have finished the game. Stacey, do you know it?
I think so. I'd have a guess.
What's your guess?
Is it Nova?
It is Nova. Yeah.
Who is in the new thingy, the cosmic battle, the beat 'em up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stacey, for crit damage, can you name the one tarot card that doesn't have a person on it? Something other than a person.
I think I can.
Yeah?
It's the Fantastic Four's house, which
Yeah.
has got a name.
Yeah.
The Baxter Building.
I'll take that. Yeah, it's the Baxter Building. Oh my God.
That was embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, obviously George has been fainted. I did have a tiebreaker. Would you like to hear it?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. In Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh my God. Come
For me to
on.
get it right.
I mean,
Go on.
except for my self-indulgent Midnight Suns, these are all really well-known games.
Yeah.
I'll at least defend myself with that. Okay. In Baldur's Gate 3, there are 11 races, but there are only 4 that don't have dark vision. Can you tell me 3 of the 4 that do not have dark vision?
No. The Stace put me
No,
down.
it's just from regular dating.
You have to think about,
where
like,
were the questions about
properties
South
of-
Park? Come on.
You kind of have to think about the properties of these races. To like, obviously the Drow do have dark vision, right?
Yeah.
So there's 4 that don't. Any idea?
Humans don't have dark vision by default.
Humans
do
do
they?
not have dark vision.
Yeah. Do halflings have dark vision?
Halflings do not have dark vision. That's 2, yeah.
Drow do. I can't remember all the ones you can play. I played as a drow. Do both gnomes and dwarves? I'm just going to ask. Do both gnomes and dwarves have them? I think they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dragonborn do.
Dragonborn do not.
Do they not?
Dragonborn do
Oh.
not. Yeah. And the last one
It's-
is the Githyanki.
Yeah. Even though it's Lazel, I kind of forget that they're in it as a playable race.
The bonus there was going to be, what is the racial trait that halflings have that no other race has? It's a very halfling thing.
Is it to do with the being in the same space? Is it called light-footed?
No.
What is it?
Brave.
Oh.
All right. Bit of a bust of a quiz, but I tried. Hey, I
No,
was there.
I liked losing.
You want to talk about some more games?
Yeah, let's do it.
We have been talking around Pokemon, but something needs to be said for the exposure of the turn-based genre on the world. Personally, I have outgrown Pokemon's combat a long time ago. I do enjoy competitive Pokemon and like how the meta evolves and how teams are built. But when I play Pokemon, I'm pretty bored.
Yeah, that's been my problem with it for a long time. Like, you two would not believe it from how much I like say I don't like Pokemon, but I used to love Pokemon growing up.
Yeah.
Like, I think Yellow, maybe it was probably my first one. I remember really wanting Mewtwo, and I just kind of stopped caring. Pokemon didn't really change.
And I do
No,
wonder
it
how
doesn't
much
change enough.
damage that's done to the reputation of turn-based games. Because people say turn-based games are boring, but I think they're just thinking of Pokemon.
They think, Pokemon is the game that they play. They think Pokemon's boring. I think it is. It's obviously it's the old joke because it's a series all about evolution and it hasn't evolved itself.
Yeah.
But I think going back to the earlier games, they weren't that slow. They weren't as handholdy. Like, they tested you. You had to like figure things out. Even just getting around the world, there was a lot more like navigation to do. And I think part of it was the really small screen. Like, if you look at a full-size map of some of the caves that we used to get lost in, they're not actually that complicated. But you used to only be able to see like 5 steps in any direction, so they felt huge. Whereas I think now on kind of the on the Switch, the caves you can kind of see from one end to the other. And they're not actually that much smaller than the old caves. They're just, your field of vision is so much bigger, so they feel a lot less complex. And I think there's a lot of that in Pokemon. Like, gamers have gotten more used to how the games work. There's a lot more kind of technological advancements that make generally playing turn-based games easier. And with that, Pokemon has kind of regressed. Even before you add in the stuff like, your rival is now your friend, and it'll kind of like come up and it'll say super effective under attacks. There's just a lot of it where it's just kind of stood still in a way that I think is really damaging for Pokemon overall, because the older games, they still like hold up, not just for nostalgia, but I think if you can kind of get your head around playing them on a system you're not used to, the older games I think still have a lot of value. It's just the way the recent games have worked, they just haven't worked basically.
Right.
They don't make enough of the formula. I know they say like every Pokemon game could be someone's first, and I do get that, but like at a certain point you're the biggest selling franchise in the world. Most Pokemon games are actually someone's 20th.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah. I wanted to mention a turn-based game that came out last week that got buried underneath the Oblivion Expedition 33 double feature, which is Sunderfolk.
I did hear good things about that.
Yeah.
Polar Bear.
So Dreamhaven's couch co-op tabletop RPG. This is Jackbox meets Gloomhaven. Sounds pretty niche, but I'm telling you, if you've ever wanted to like play like sort of a D&D kind of thing with, I don't know, like your cousins or your mom who's like doesn't want to get out the big board game and put all the pieces together for an hour, this is the answer. You sit around on the couch, you are playing like a virtual turn-based board game, and you all use your own phones as your controller. Like, you swipe around on your screen to move your character around. It's a blast. It's super cool. And way more approachable than something like Gloomhaven. Like, it's really a pick up and play kind of like tactical turn-based RPG. With a cool story. It does a lot of cool D&D things that you would appreciate, Stacy. Like, when you meet a new enemy type, sometimes one of the players will get a prompt on their phone to name that monster.
Oh, that is cool.
That's nice.
And then that becomes part of the game. And then in between the battles, you all go back to town and you can like split up and people can go to different shops or like do different things. That is very
D&D. It's something you don't get in a lot of D&D games because it's you and like 4 pre-written characters who are just kind of there to be a vampire that you get to kiss.
Yeah. And you manage like your character sheet on your phone. You have like the enemy stats. Like, you have all the book stuff you would need like in the app. So
I can't believe I've not heard. Well, I've heard of it, but only really the headline that it was buried, like you said, by Oblivion and Clair.
Sure, yeah.
This sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really cool, and you only need one copy of it. So like, if you want to play online with your friends, only one person needs it, and then everybody logs in, just like Jackbox.
That's cool.
You just like put the code in. A couple things. Oh, I want to mention Into the Breach, which is a game I've loved for a long time. A very teeny tiny tactics game.
Yeah.
Mashed together with a roguelike. I'm sure a lot of people play that at this point.
I think you've definitely mentioned it. It rings a bell.
And then Slice and Dice was a game I was really hooked on last year on my phone. Every time I was on a plane, I was playing Slice and Dice the whole time.
It's a Fruit Ninja.
It's a cool. It's a dungeon crawler. It's a dice roguelike dungeon crawler. So you roll. Each character has a die, and each face of the die represents one of their abilities. And so you roll all your die, and then you can keep the attacks or whatever the spells that you want, and then you can roll your die again, and then you're trading attacks with whatever enemies you're facing in that combat scenario. It's really quite addicting. Yeah. Of course, there's a million more, but those are the ones I wanted to highlight. What about you guys?
Oof. The only sort of one that we've not mentioned, South Park: The Fractured But Whole. No.
Yeah.
We've talked about these a million times, but I know Stacy and I particularly really like them. But Like a Dragon, both.
Yeah, no, that was very nice pick.
Yeah, like Infinite Wealth, and I always get it's just called Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yakuza Like a Dragon, yeah.
Yeah, that one that is very confusing, but I love those. They are
so basically the ones that have Like a Dragon in are the turn-based ones, and the ones that are Yakuza are the action ones.
Yeah, it's basically if it's got Ichi in it, I like it. Like
which is the turn-based ones.
It really is as simple as that. That having a change of protagonist, having a more emotional protagonist, got me in, and then just it's in a similar way to South Park, I guess. They have a lot of fun with what it means to use abilities, have jobs. Like it doesn't take itself too seriously, but also the story is incredible.
Mm-hmm. And there is a lot of depth to different classes you pick in Like a Dragon. But you're right, they are like, oh, I'm a chef, and I'm gonna like fry up some shrimp and throw it in your face.
I'm a hula dancer for reasons unknown.
Yeah. but that's basically a white mage. Like it's still a standard like class. It's just done in a way that's like really interesting. Or like the healers are the idols.
Yeah, it's very cute. Is kind of the word I think of.
Kawaii.
It's very kawaii.
Oh,
that's the word.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
You thought you were saying why in the weirdest way
I was like,
why?
Yeah. French.
What about you, Stacey?
I'm trying to think what we had. Obviously, Like a Dragon was on mine. Fire Emblem was on mine, which we discussed a little bit. Pokemon. Didn't really mention it other than me giving a passing reference for Persona, but I have found it a little bit strange that everyone this year has been like, turn-based is back with Clair, and I'm like, no, Metaphor came out last year.
Yeah,
was
and almost
game
one
last
game
year,
and everyone
and
loved
turn-based.
it. Yeah.
So Metaphor was obviously fantastic, made by the same people that made Persona. It's kind of the similar thing. You got a lot of the character stuff. And I've mentioned it before in kind of this little brief bit at the end. But I always loved Child of Light. No one ever talks about Child of Light anymore. It was a good game. Little paint, little thing. The timer was kind of done differently because it went like along a conveyor belt instead of like a list.
Ubisoft stan.
Yeah.
Where's my Rayman RPG? Oh, actually, that reminds me. Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope had a Rayman DLC that was actually pretty cool. And it's
Did you play it? I never got to it. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I didn't finish it again.
I'm a big Mario and Luigi guy. I got to review the most recent one, the Brothership.
Oh, yeah, I remember us talking about that.
Yep. I really like Brothership. I really like Mario RPG. My grocery store when I was a kid had Super Nintendo games to rent. Blockbuster was on to like PS2, but you could still get Super Nintendo from the grocery store. And I checked out Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars,
Love Mario RPG
50 times. I just kept renting it over and over. I didn't say Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden, which is another tactics game I love dearly. It's got a really cool blend of stealth and tactics. You can set up your battle before it starts and like position your guys around the enemies before it switches into turn-based. That one's really cool. And yeah, I think we've at least mentioned most of the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are going to be people like, why didn't you talk about Final Fantasy VII? You know,
yes,
there's too many Final Fantasies to do that with.
Too many. All right, we'll wrap it up. Those are our favorite turn-based games. We want to know your favorite turn-based games too. So leave us a message, get in touch. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode of your favorite game. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and visit us at thegamer.com. That's The Gamer. No spaces.